Okay, I'm gonna try and keep this video inside of 5 minutes, but inside of that 5 minutes, I'm gonna try and put as much information as I can. Dude, so one of the problems with the work of the Zolkin that we've been working with is this two-dimensionality of the oracle. And one of the things that I've had a hard time connecting with the law of the cube is that suddenly we've made it 3 dimensions, and then we've changed the way we look at the oracle so that it fits into 3 dimensions. And part of that is probably my naivete, the fact that I just don't know enough about it, but it's been a huge trigger. And so I've been trying to figure out why the oracle can't just be in 3 dimensions. So I've told you this idea of trying to associate it with the star with the star tetrahedron. Think about the Star of David. There are 6 points with one in the center, but there are 2 points that aren't shown, right? That would be the star Tet. So with the Star of David, we can't put our oracle on it. It doesn't work to just say put yourself in the center and put your oracles around it. So that was hard. So the next thing is like, okay, well, if it's 3 dimensional, then I can imagine the solar seal in the center of a tetrahedron in the 4 points of the tetrahedrons being the oracle. That's fine, but a tetrahedron is no good by itself. So then the problem is, okay, well, let's take the feminine side of it, which we know to be the tone. To me, that's been another big trigger. I feel that this feminine side is entirely underrepresented. This idea that the lunar tone is it, that's all of the feminine side, that's great, but I feel that there is a stronger connection to the feminine side in our energy fields, based on the fact that everything is based in duality, the yin and the yang, all of it. So, 1,000 different synchronicities. You were around for the 2222, 222. We talked about this idea, that's the idea of duality and the idea of mirrors. Well, those two things came up huge. One, I've been studying quantum physics and theory of relativity, and that has also been entirely harmonic. And then watching the black hole and Nassim talking about the idea of a proton being a black hole and that everything is actually black holes. This was extremely revolutionizing to me and makes a shit ton of sense. And also the idea that the Hunabku, is a black hole. That is what the symbol of the Hunabku is. It's the black hole specifically in the center of the galaxy. Well, I'm arguing that that's a misunderstanding and underrepresentation. Again, that in fact the black hole in the center of the galaxy is the same as the black hole in the center of us, in the center of every molecule, every atom, and then you can go down infinitely inward and infinitely outward. The black hole, that the galaxy, we're in this black hole of the universe. Anyway, black holes being the key part of the problem. So the other thing that's been really important, that has struck me as really important, is this seal that Chui showed me, which is the support of your antipode, antipode of your support. For me, that's White Wizard, and I've really connected with that. Wizard was important before that, and then when I saw that, I said, oh, that's one of the reasons why Wizard is important. But all of this being said, 1,000 different things, and but this idea of needing a stronger female counterpart to the solar seal, naturally that would be the lunar seal. So if this is the lunar seal, if we take this idea that the support of your antipode and the antipode of your support is in fact a mirrored reflection of yourself. So if it's the inverted view, it's the Y view of the cube when we look at it inside out. You're looking at not your challenge, which would be your antipode, which is across from you on the avatar's wheel, but we're looking at your challenge's support. So in a sense, it's the entire opposite of you. It's the black version of you. The challenge is more of a place to grow to, and this idea of a lunar seal is literally your opposite. Okay, so once we did that, we already put our seal in the middle of a tetrahedron. Well, now we put that one inside of a tetrahedron. Then the natural thing to do would be to stick them inside of each other. So, flipped it upside down. The lunar seal is you naturally would, being the feminine side of the star, and boom, star tetrahedron. Problem is, this didn't make any actual sense. The idea was great. Tried drawing it out on every sheet of paper that I have, and it's almost impossible to draw. So I said it needs to be in 3 dimensions, which is a whole other story. But anyways, got it in 3 dimensions, and 2 days of banging my head against the wall and taking it apart and writing all over it and trying to understand how it could work. A few things clicked, but this idea in the black hole that there are two the two protons will be attracted to each other because they're so dense as the gravity is what holds them together, and that they're spinning so fast and they're so close together that they can almost share a space. This solved the last problem. So when you take 2 solar seals, what you end up with is a total of 2 solar seals and then 8 oracles. So it's a total of 10 pieces, and the star has 8 points on it, and that would leave us with the 2. Well, I'm arguing that in the Star of David there are the 2 points you can't see, which are the 2 extra points, and then what we now can do by taking all of the oracles and putting them at the points of our tetrahedrons, and then by arguing that both of our energies can share the space in the center and that they'd actually be spinning around each other, which we know that in Merkaba science that the tetrahedron is spinning. Suddenly it all worked. That I could put my lunar seal and my solar seal in the center. Now, my lunar seal is guided by wind, which is funny, but and yours would be guided by monkey, also funny. But moral of the story is I finally did it, and this is what it looks like. I've already gone over my allotted time, but boom. So star tetrahedron, and we've got colored balls that represent the energies around the outside. Now there's a lot more geometrically that's come out of this that I'm not going to try and explain in this video, but it's pretty incredible. I would urge you to create a similar structure. As you can see that I've got colored balls for all of these points too, and wow, that is incredible. Those I've basically taken and blended the energies of the 4 that would converge on this center. So this is the value of 4, 3, 7, and 5 summed to 19. So I've got 19 in the center. We can do that all day with these, but I'm not going to go into all of the details. But here's the next big opening. So fine, we got it into the star. This opens a lot of doors for us. We've got music. There's so much to do with star tetrahedron and science and structure of the void and the vector equilibrium, and everything comes from this shape, or at least we can associate a lot of things with the shape. Another thing that's important, again, is duality. So in sacred geometry, we have this idea of the dual of a structure. So the dual of the star tetrahedron is, boom, you guessed it, the cube. So now I can take the cube, the cube as in the cube, and by just twisting the same structure sideways, now I have this cube in my hand with myself in the center, and it's 8 points. Suddenly are all the corners of this cube. This was pretty incredible for me. I suddenly was able to rectify that problem I had. I mean, did I describe this problem? The working with the cube, that one of my big disconnects was that we ditched a lot of aspects of the oracle. Anyway, so now all of a sudden everything was back connected. It's 3-dimensional, and it's 3-dimensional like the cube. And I've also solved my problem of duality. Now we have a lunar seal to the solar seal and a lunar tone to the solar seal, and so likewise we have a solar tone to the lunar seal. So in this way everything is equally balanced. We have a female tone and a male seal and a female seal, and we are all going to be expressed some more than others. So for an example of how Merkaba science comes into play here is that when you look at this, I've got my guide facing up, but when you look at it and you think about the idea that the male tetrahedron has the in front of us, we have the point sticking out, where the female we have the point to the back, and we walk the point to our back. Well, now we can bring in the difference between human male and human female and how they would approach this, because I still would argue that the solar seal is always facing up, regardless of the sex of the person with that energy. Okay, I'm at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. That's only 4.5 minutes too long. But that's half of what I've done in the last week. It's been a crazy wave spell, and I'm only halfway through it, but the stuff that has been coming through is incredible. A whole nother aspect is this idea that the tone can be associated with with the oracle and the expanded oracle, and it all comes from the number values. So working with the numbers and working with it in 3D, I'm arguing, is clutch, and that's the wave of the future. So this is a quick video to show you that, and I think from this point we need to do this live. Peace, brother.